Hello everybody. On this day in 1995, Harold Larwood died, a cricketer from the 1930s, very fast bowler, involved in the bodyline controversy. He and Douglas Jardine, the captain of the English team at the time, had toured Australia in the early 30s and late 20s, and not liked the reception they got. They found the Australian crowds to be rather more uncouth and abusive than they were used to in England, and developed a dislike for Australians. But in the tours that followed, Donald Bradman emerged as a startlingly brilliant Australian batsman and had run rings around the English bowlers. So in response to both these things, Jardine and Larwood developed a technique which became known by the Australians as bodyline bowling and by the English as leg theory bowling, what's in the name. But basically it was aimed at, you bowled at the body in order to scare the wits out of the person who you were bowling at. And the Australians thought this was very unsportsmanship, and indeed it was, and there were injuries, and it was very unpleasant and very, very unpopular in Australia during the 1932-33 tour, so much so that the Australian Cricket Board complained to the English Cricket Board, who eventually decided that they would issue an apology for this. But Harold Larwood refused to apologise. He said he was only doing what his captain had told him to do. I think there's a whole range of things down the history of the world which have been done only because someone else told you to do it. And today I think is a day just for remembering the importance of taking responsibility for our own actions. Of course, Harold Larwood didn't have to bowl like that because his captain told him to. He could have refused. That would have meant he lost his place in the team maybe, but he still could have done it. He should have taken responsibility for what he did. And indeed, not taking responsibility features very largely in the Hebrew Christian myth about what's created our human problems over the millennia. Because, as you will know from the story, Adam blamed the woman for encouraging him to eat of the fruit that he'd been forbidden to eat of, and the woman blamed the serpent. Everybody blamed somebody else and didn't take responsibility for their own decision to eat it. And that's seen as being one of the factors that means that we human beings have ended up in the mess that we're in, what theologians call the fall. And so today I think it's worth making sure that even in the smallest things of life, as well as in the larger ones, I take responsibility for the decisions that I take. And make sure that I'm willing to do that and not to do anything which, if I had to justify it, could only be justified by saying, oh, well, someone else told me to do it. I need to be sure that what I'm doing is right and be ready to take responsibility for it.